Okay, imagine this, right? You've got the open highway stretching out ahead. Maybe the sun's just coming up. And for a minute, you feel that real sense of freedom that comes with being on the road. But, the reality kicks in too. The hidden stuff, the constant demands, just the sheer weight of, well, keeping America moving. So this deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain on what truckers are really experiencing today. We'll unpack some recent events that directly hit your lives, things like respect and dignity, these massive shifts in logistics, and, of course, safety and financial stability. Our mission here is to take these things happening right now, look at them from all sides, and figure out what they actually mean for you, the person behind the wheel.
Yeah, and we've got some great sources for this. All the insights are coming from Truckers VIA, and they pull directly from lifeasatrucker.com and its sister site, retirefromtrucking.com.
Yeah.
And this isn't, corporate speak. It's raw, real talk perspective straight from folks in the industry. Gives us a really unfiltered view.
Okay, let's dig into this first one now. Picture this. You pull off after a long haul. You're tired, hungry, maybe you just want some hot food, some pancakes, and you get told, nope, can't serve you,
Well,
for no good reason. That's exactly what a lawsuit against Denny's claims happened to a team of CDL drivers out in South Dakota.
right, and the really disturbing thing here, it's not just about like one meal or one Denny's. The lawsuit says these drivers were denied service, no valid reason given, while other people, non-truckers, were getting seated right away. And the drivers. They firmly believe it was because of their race or maybe just how they looked. This whole incident, it really shines a light on something that's been, well, simmering under the surface at truck stops for years. Just a basic lack of respect for drivers. It's this kind of unspoken vibe sometimes, that truckers are treated like second-class citizens.
Yeah, like the sources mentioned, dirty boots. Oh, you're a problem.
Exactly. Greasy hands. Must be trouble. Doesn't matter. You might be hauling $500,000 worth of freight and just want to eat.
It's really disheartening. And looking at the different angles, Denny's corporate. Silent so far. But you bet their lawyers are scrambling. The drivers involved, they're not backing down. And what's really telling is how many other truckers are chiming in online, nodding along, sharing their own stories. It suggests a bigger pattern, right?
Absolutely. And then you have fellow diners. Some are outraged. Others are kind of skeptical, wondering, well, maybe they did something. And then off the record, you hear from some truck stop workers. They basically confirm this bias isn't shocking. One former waitress even recalled being told, don't seat certain people late at night, supposedly for safety.
It was code.
Yeah, usually code for something else entirely.
Wow. So how's the wider industry reacting?
Oh, this has fired up the trucking community big time. You see big names on social media sounding off, saying things like, this ain't the first time, or we keep their shelves stocked and they treat us like trash. A lot of drivers are now boycotting Denny's. Others are putting together lists of places that are actually trucker-friendly.
That makes sense. Support the places that support you.
Exactly. And connecting it to the bigger picture, it's about dignity, Not just dinner. Truckers are tired of feeling like disposable labor. It really brings up a key question for you listening. How do you demand that respect you deserve when you're out there doing such a critical job, often completely unseen?
That fight for respect, it happens in those individual moments, yeah, but those moments are also tied into these much bigger forces changing the whole industry, aren't they?
Yeah.
These forces, they trickle down and really impact your daily grind. So let's shift gears now. Let's talk about how big corporate moves and market trends affect you. We've got 3 stories here that really show this constant change.
Definitely. First up, FedEx Freight. They recently kind of pumped the brakes on enforcing these new, stricter rules for LTL classification that's less than truckload. They were going to roll them out hard, but they've delayed enforcement, giving customers more time to adjust.
Okay, so what does that mean for a driver?
Well, for you, this delay means probably fewer surprises at pickup and delivery. Less finger pointing, at least for a little while. But, and this is important, once that grace period ends, drivers are definitely going to face more pressure if shippers mess up the classification.
Right. The responsibility might shift.
Could be. Looking at the different views, shippers are relieved, obviously, but some think FedEx should have done more education sooner. FedEx drivers themselves, kind of mixed feelings. Some company drivers just want consistent rules, avoid the headaches. But owner-operators might see more paperwork down the line if it's just delayed now.
And other carriers.
Yeah, independent carriers are watching closely, seeing if this causes a domino effect. Will other big players like, say, Old Dominion or XPO follow suit?
So what's the strategy behind FedEx doing this?
Well, the sources suggest this isn't them canceling the changes. It's more like a strategic countdown.
Yeah.
Gives FedEx time to prep their systems, gather data, and get ready for, well, even stricter enforcement later.
Gotcha. So drivers still need to be ready, just later. Okay, next big corporate shakeup. Hub Group bought Martin Transport's intermodal division.
Yeah, and for anyone kind of new to that side, intermodal just means freight moving, using multiple modes like truck to train, then back to truck.
So Martin's main trucking parts are still Martin, but the intermodal drivers, they must be nervous.
Oh, for sure. They're wondering, is the new management going to cut pay? Is dispatch going to get more automated, less personal? Or, worst case, are they going to get pushed out?
It's that uncertainty again.
Exactly. And what's really telling, this acquisition, it's part of a much bigger trend we're seeing. These mega carriers just gobbling up market share.
Consolidation.
Right. Fewer players usually means more control and often more pressure on the smaller guys right down the line. Consolidation always, always trickles down. It means new rules, maybe new rate structures, new tech they expect you to use. It fundamentally changes the landscape for everyone, especially for you, the individual driver.
And speaking of those ripple effects, the Kroger layoffs, that's another tough story. Over 130 truckers and mechanics tied to Kroger's Arizona warehouse operations got laid off.
Yeah, the company called it a supply chain realignment.
Realignment. But for the workers, it's stark. Many had like 20-plus years on the job, found out with barely any warning, left feeling totally expendable.
It's rough. The Teamsters Union is pushing hard, trying to get extended severance, help with finding new jobs for those folks. But it's a tough situation.
It really highlights how, even if you're good at your job, experienced, these huge corporate shifts can just pull the rug out.
It's a definite red flag. It points to this larger trend where big retailers are moving away from handling their own logistics in-house. They're shifting freight to the mega carriers or these 3PLs, third-party logistics providers, companies that manage shipping for others.
And the impact.
Often, unfortunately, it means less stability, less control for the drivers and mechanics involved, and frequently lower pay, too.
So it raises a tough question, doesn't it? If you can be the absolute best driver or mechanic out there and still end up on the chopping block because of a realignment, what's your long-term plan? How do you secure your own future?
Yeah, all these things, FedEx, Hub Group, Kroger, they seem separate, but they all point to the same thing. More external pressures on individual truckers and this huge need to be adaptable to plan ahead.
So we've talked about these big external pressures, corporate moves, market changes, and how you need to adapt. But adapting isn't just about reacting, is it? It's also about taking control of yourself, especially with safety and your own financial future. Let's lay two stories that really hammer this home.
Absolutely. First, this load shift nightmare incident is chilling. A trucker got injured because a load of these heavy paper bales broke through the trailer barrier while he was driving. Investigators are looking into it. Was it just poor load securement? Or maybe a weak, faulty barrier on the trailer itself.
Paper bales.
Yeah.
They don't sound that dangerous. But
They can weigh over 2,000 pounds each. If they're not secured right, they become like a wrecking ball inside the trailer. And here's the really crucial takeaway. The law can hold you, the driver, accountable for an unsafe load, even if you didn't load it yourself. Your life literally depends on that load being secure.
wow. Okay. And thinking about who's responsible.
Yeah.
It gets complicated, right?
Totally. You've got the driver, maybe they had no idea it was loaded badly. Then the shipper, did they cut corners on securing it? What about the company? Was the training insufficient? Did they push the driver to take a load they shouldn't have?
Or it could just be the equipment itself.
Exactly. A defect in the trailer, maybe the wrong kind of trailer for that specific cargo. It's not really about pointing fingers, though.
It's about fixing a potentially deadly problem.
Right. The industry response has been pretty significant. Drivers are speaking up more, saying things like, look, I don't move until I check every strap myself. I don't care if it makes someone mad. Companies are reviewing their policies, their bulkhead specs, trailer inspections, especially for these high-risk loads. And you can bet the FMCSA is watching the situation very closely.
So what's the bottom line for the driver listening right now?
It's about vigilance. Don't just assume a load is secure because someone else loaded it. You need to know it's secure. Fixing the system is one thing, but your immediate safety check. That can be the difference between getting home and, well, a catastrophe.
Take control of what you can control. Okay. Now let's switch to the financial side. There was this recent policy thing in Washington,
Yeah, the U.S. Senate basically tossed out a big, controversial tax and spend bill.
and the reaction was kind of interesting, wasn't it? The market versus the reality for drivers.
Oh, yeah, really fascinating. Freight markets, Wall Street, they kind of cheered. Trucking stocks went up a bit. The thinking was less regulation, no surprise, new freight taxes, less worry about inflation.
Okay, good news for the stock market, but for drivers.
Well, like the sources say, that Wall Street celebration don't fill a lunchbox. For most drivers, it doesn't directly translate. Are company drivers going to see pay raises because of this? Probably not. Will fuel prices suddenly drop? Highly doubtful.
So a real disconnect between the big economic picture and your day-to-day.
Precisely. You look at the perspectives, Wall Street's happy, shippers are, like, cautiously optimistic, but drivers, pretty mixed reactions. Some see maybe a slight chance freight picks up down the road, others just call it another empty political stunt that won't help them pay the bills.
And economists have concerns too.
Yeah, some warn that needed infrastructure spending was in that bill, so now things like fixing roads, improving ports, that gets delayed again, which, ironically, can make a trucker's job harder.
So the bottom line feels like great headline, weak paycheck.
Pretty much. The market gives, the market takes away. And it really poses that question again. If these big political and economic chess moves don't directly help you on the ground level, what's your strategy? How do you build your own financial stability?
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Some really impactful stories for truckers, starting with that fight for basic respect at a diner.
Yeah, then those big ripple effects from corporate mergers and layoffs.
And connecting that to the constant dangers on the road, like that load shift, plus the unpredictability of economic policy.
And the common thread weaving through all these sources we looked at, it's this constant pressure, isn't it? And this landscape that's just always evolving under your wheels.
It really brings to mind what Hervey from Life, as a trucker, always says. You got to see issues from all angles.
Exactly. And by looking closely at all these viewpoints, from the corporate boardroom down to the truck stop counter and right into the cab itself, we start to get a clearer picture of what's really happening out there.
And across the board, the sources seem to point to this really powerful takeaway. Even when these outside forces feel unpredictable, maybe even unfair, you have the power to create your own stability, your own future.
Yeah, it comes down to proactive time management. But not just managing your time for shippers, managing it for yourself.
What does that look like in
It
practice?
means using that off-duty time wisely. Like the sources suggest, maybe learning new skills, building some online income streams on the side. It could be anything, really. Exploring AI tools that might help, content creation, finding a side hustle, maybe dispatch training, affiliate marketing.
Stuff you can do from the cab or during downtime?
Right. Building those kinds of capabilities, it creates like a shield. Something to protect you against the ups and downs of freight rates or the wider economy, or even if your company suddenly disappears.
So it's about building a future where you can maybe retire when you want to, not just when the industry lets you.
Exactly, having that safety net. Because as we saw with the Kroger story, even loyalty and experience aren't always enough protection when big changes happen.
And ultimately, when you take that control, build your own opportunities, you're empowering yourself. You're demanding respect, not just by, keeping the country running, but by setting your own terms for your journey.
You absolutely deserve to feel respected and supported. And sometimes, maybe often, that means building that support system, that security for yourself.
So wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what does it really mean? Maybe in this industry that changes so fast, where the ground can literally shift under you.
Mm.
Perhaps the truest form of mastering your profession isn't just about hauling freight really well.
Maybe it's also about mastering your own future, securing your own independence no matter what the road throws at you.